Hey guys, how's it going? It's Al. Welcome to week 15 top stacks on DraftKings. I'm going to go through and name 5 of my favorite stacks for this weekend for tournaments. You can use these stacks on FanDuel as well, even though I'm focused on the DraftKings pricing because their screen is a little bit more favorable to me. It's a little bit easier on the eye. It doesn't blast me with a big white light in my face when I do DraftKings videos, so that's where we're going to stick. If I name 5 stacks and you think that another stack is good, go ahead, play that stacks. It does not mean that the quarterback wide receiver stacks that I name are the only stacks, and there may be other ones that do well. I'm definitely going to play more than 5. I typically have between 7 and 10 quarterbacks on my entire allocation. So if there's a stack that I did not mention, just know that it doesn't mean that it's bad. Thank you guys for being here. Drop a like on the channel, or no, I said that completely wrong. Drop a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel, ring the notifications bell, leave a reply. Any of those things are free options. They help out tremendously. So thank you guys very much. You guys have been amazing this NFL season. Appreciate you, every single one. If you wanted to get more involved, there's a link down below. Click show more in the description. Jump into our Discord where the conversations are flowing constantly. There are free channels in there for you to become part of the community. There are also sub-only channels. So if you want to become a channel member here on Discord, we have plenty of subscriber-only channels for the Twitch plus YouTube channel members and subscribers. Click that join button. You get a nice little VIP badge next to your name that will graduate with you as you become a 2, 3, 4, 5 month channel member here on YouTube. You get some great emotes that will be adding more all the time as we keep getting more channel members and unlock more emote slots. They're already made. They're just waiting in a folder on my desktop for me to upload them as soon as we unlock those spots. And the added bonus is you get access to those VIP channels in the Discord. So thank you guys for being here. And let's get to the video. Yeah, as UNC says, now we have a sports card channel. You can talk about all your favorite sports cards, but I'm going to talk about Taysom Hill going up against Kansas City. We've seen what he can do the last few weeks as a starter. As long as he remains the starter at 6K, I believe that is a little bit too cheap. With the floor being around 3X and the ceiling being around 4X for Taysom Hill. But this week is going to be different from other weeks, where in a lot of weeks this season, I've been looking to maybe double stack specifically. I double stack when I leverage. Okay, so can we, and I know that I'm using terms that I know that some people may not understand what they mean. So I'll explain. There's a few different types of stacks. Number one, a skinny stack. This is what I refer to as a quarterback and one of his pass catchers with no player from the other team. So no bring back player, nobody on the other side to bring back your stack with that player. A single stack is a quarterback wide receiver with a bring back. A double stack is a quarterback with 2 of their pass catchers and a bring back. So if I'm going to be double stacking, it's usually going to be to leverage off of. So like if the field is going to be very heavy on a specific running back, I will try to get leverage against the field by stacking or double stacking that quarterback and his passing game. Everybody's on Derrick Henry one week, stacking Tannehill with a receiver or 2 of his. If he has 3 or 4 touchdown passes and Henry does not get into the end zone, that is a great way to leverage all of the percentage of him in tournaments. If you want to do that with Dalvin Cook certain weeks, that has also worked for us with Kirk Cousins, double stacks with Thielen and Jefferson. Last week, Irv Smith was the play as well with him. So that is the way that I approach things. With Taysom Hill, I am not going to be running double stacks. I don't think that Taysom Hill can support 2 players to be able to win a tournament. I will allow him to be stacked with Alvin Kamara. My preferred stack, now he's got this cube. I didn't take part in practice Wednesday, whatever. I ignore Wednesday practice reports. It perks my ears up. I got to watch Thursday and Friday practice reports, but like Wednesday, chalk it up to just like, hey, it could just be a Veterans Day. They're giving me a day off. It's late in the season. These guys don't need to run out there on Wednesdays. They're biggest, best playmakers. But Michael Thomas, probably my most preferred stack. And we'll talk about some other guys that we can play with and bring it back with. So going over to the lineup HQ over on Rotogrinders.com, make sure you go to the team player groups here. It's right up here at the top. Player groups, click team player groups. This is your primary stack. I'm only going to allow 1. I don't want, and I don't want a skinny stack because if they're doing well, I assume that the Chiefs are going to have somebody that's going to help us propel this, but I don't think that he can allow for 2 guys on his team to do great with him I don't see like a 4 touchdown game coming. So most of his volume is going to Michael Thomas. He'll be in that stack. Alvin Kamara, I will allow Jared Cook or Emmanuel Sanders to be in that stack, and on the bring back with Taysom Hill, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, or Elaire, apologies, Travis Kelce, Sammy Watkins, Tyreek Hill, Mecole Hardman. I'm probably going to focus on Kelce and Hill in most of these. Elaire is projected at 10%. If you wanted to get a secondary bring back in this, or we'll talk about Kansas City stacks in just a second, spoiler alert. Sammy Watkins is and Mecole Hardman coming in at a very low projected tournament percentage. So you can, if the touchdowns don't go to Tyreek Hill or Travis Kelce, great way to, again, leverage the field on KC stacks. My second stack, guess what? It's Patrick Mahomes right on the other side of this game. This is probably going to be the most hotly contested and most likely game to score 60 plus real life points this weekend. Patrick Mahomes, he's good. You don't need me to tell you why. You also don't need me to tell you who to stack him with, but I'm going to anyway because I'm just that dude. Tyreek Hill looks to be the preferred stacking target this weekend, as Tyreek Hill absolutely slashes and slaughters man-to-man defense, and the New Orleans Saints play a lot of man-to-man defense. 8,800, this is a pay up to be contrarian stack, costing you a lot of money, right? Like 16.7 in total. If you wanted to double stack him, I get it. Or just single stack him with Travis Kelce, who has been absurd. I don't even know how to put it. He's indefensible this season against man or zone. When they get inside the red zone, end zone targets also, scores from all over the field, massive upside and a floor that will separate you from most of the other tight ends on the slate. Their ceiling is essentially his floor. So going over to Rotogrinders HQ, let's go to team player groups again. We'll sort by Mahomes. I will allow 1 to 2 in my groups here: Kelce, Watkins, Tyreek, and Hardman. You can build it to boost certain players if you set rules over in the build rules groups. Some lineup builders have a correlations tab, so if the lineup has this player in it, then increase or boost these players by X%, so you get more of them. In Patrick Mahomes lineups, there would be more Kelce or more Hill or more Watkins or more Harden, whatever your preferred option is. And again, it's never just run the optimizer one time. You got to do it a bunch of times. Make sure that you get the allocations you want, especially in your stacks. With a bring back group, basically the same thing that we did on the other side: Kamara, Cook, Thomas, Sanders. I'm trying to capture as much as the upside from this game as is possible. Going on to our third stack, Tom Brady, our cover boy for the day, going up against Atlanta, who we've streamed quarterbacks against all season long. Tom Brady brings some very precarious spots for us here because there's just so many targets. Now, we have an injury here. Well, an injury here. We have Ronald Jones is on the COVID list, so he needs to clear protocol. So we don't know if he's in or out, right? Assuming he's out, whatever, it throws more stuff into question at the running back position. It's going to create possibly some chalk depending on who is starting. If they take Fournette off the healthy scratch list and play him, he's going to catch percentage at 4,500. If he's scratched again, then obviously McCoy and Vaughn. McCoy did not look terrible last week. None of these guys are going to be guys that are that I'm going to be stacking with. It's going to come down to the pass catchers. And so here's the problem. There's a lot of mouths to feed. Mike Evans, Godwin, Brown, Miller was the one who ended up on the end of that 48-yard touchdown, but he only got 2 targets. So that really kind of screwed anybody that played one of the big 3, or Rob Gronkowski, who only got 2 targets last week. Then you have the possibility that Brait might vulture a touchdown as well. So like, he's a tough stack. And so I have not fully decided what I'm going to do with my Tom Brady stacks this week, but kind of looking at them over here on Rotogrinders. If I bring up Tom Brady, I've allowed these 5 for now. I'm probably not going to allow Scotty Miller, right? I'm going to try and consolidate to these 4 because I can't cover every base and I want to overweight the field. And you can already see that the percentages that are projected for these guys in tournaments are already exceptionally low, with each one of them being sub 10%. So if you want to just say, look, I'm going to try and bink the one guy, that's fine. If you want to say that you're going to go with a double stack, I'm probably going to pick one of the wide receivers in Gronk. but I have not made up my mind. So there's a way to do this where you just go to your group and you say every lineup that has Tom Brady must have Rob Gronkowski, and then you take him out of this group and you say use exactly one of this group between just the 3 wide receivers to force double stacks with Gronk and with Brady and 2 pass catchers, one of them including Gronk. It's up to you on how you want to do it. That's kind of the way that I would go about looking at it. There's a bunch of different ways you can go. Very dangerous with Brady because, again, he does spread the ball around, and there's so many talented options that if one of them catches 2 touchdowns, you're going to have him in those stacks. And then you have to kind of focus on your bring back groups. With Atlanta, this is one I did not do. I'm probably going to use exactly one of these. We do have to monitor injuries. If Julio Jones is back, that changes the prospects of a couple of guys. I think that Hayden Hurst at his price is just too low at 3,300. Julio is always in play for me. Gage is in play if Julio is out. I'm going to assume for the sake of this that he's not. I'm just going to cut this down to basically this 3, and that's going to be my grouping, as you kind of have to throw against Tampa Bay. Running against them is tough, even though somebody like Dalvin Cook, an exceptionally great running back, had a good game against them last week, but they play very well. They score touchdowns, they get out ahead, and then you have to kind of play from behind. So this is a great spot for stacks and bringbacks with Brady. DeSean Watson, at least from an underplayed perspective, I think that his stacks are going ignored because of the fact that it's tough to pinpoint exactly who's going to get the volume. DeSean Watson, quite good. Another player that I'm not sure I want to go with double stacks of, probably going to go with a single stack here. Not a skinny stack. I certainly want to bring back with somebody on Indy. He did have kind of a subpar game last week at Chicago, but Chicago an exceptionally good defense. I know that Indianapolis has been good as well, but DeSean Watson has thrived in these matchups in the past. So I'm not going to be stacking the running backs with him. I expect Brandon Cooks to be back this week. Kiki Kuti and Chad Hansen look like the other 2 pass catchers, as well as Akins on top at tight end if you wanted to go there. It's going to depend on how you weight them, but that's how I'm going to build that group. So going over to Houston, I've already got the group built for you here. You can see the projected percent on every one of them is exceptionally low. Going with a single stack for me, I'm going to cut this down probably to 1. I don't know that this core of wide receivers, with the prices that have elevated, right? So Hansen was 3K before, Kuti was 3.5, and Cooks is up to 6K. I'm not sure that at their prices, Watson can smash with 2 of them, but I want to make sure that I have single stacks with him, and then we can bring it back on the other side with our Watson stacks. I'm going to enable that stack and bring up one of the other guys. I'm probably not going to go with Hines, Wilkins. I'm going to focus in on Taylor. Mo Alley Cox, no. T.Y. Hilton, defense versus team, or player versus team. He is historically torn up the Houston defense. Marcus Johnson, no. And I'm going to allow Michael Pittman as the bring back there. And moving on to our last and final single stack here. Not really a double stack because I don't believe that Lamar Jackson can... let me change that. If Lamar Jackson has a massive game, he can support 2 players being in a stack with him. We've seen him actually get into the end zone. Rushing touchdowns are extremely fluky, guys, for quarterbacks and for position players. Volume leads to that, and it's tough to get that. But Jacksonville's been awful and increased the efficiency for opposing quarterbacks. So if there is a week for Lamar Jackson to have a ceiling game in terms of his passing, if that occurs, then yes, he can. But based on this volume, no, he cannot sustain 2 guys in the passing game in a double stack. So I'm probably going to go with single stacks, unless, because of the injury status or the COVID status, we have to monitor this on Saturday and Sunday morning, Saturday afternoon and Sunday morning, to see if these guys can get cleared. If they're not, then yeah, maybe he can sustain just based on salary and minimal volume guys like Willie Snead or the rookie Duvernay, who's, if you wanted to go with a double dip opportunity, if Duvernay is going to be the starter and run all of the routes this week, I don't hate that. Lamar to Duvernay to the Ravens defense, or without Jackson, Duvernay and the Ravens defense just kind of attacking a double dip opportunity if you think he could get like 6 or 7 targets. But that's like, we're way away from that decision being made, because that's something we're going to only be able to know when these three other wide receivers, two especially, Boykin and Brown, if they're out, then it opens those things up. It's something to keep as an if-then statement. Write a note down, put a post-it on your screen, and make that decision on Sunday morning. Just kind of plant that seed, but it's not something I'm going to be hanging my hat on. The main stack that I want with him is Mark Andrews. Again, Jacksonville increases efficiency. Mark Andrews is an extremely efficient tight end, especially when he gets predictable volume. And with the pass catchers out, if they don't clear protocols, Mark Andrews is kind of the only talented show in town outside of like Willie Snead, who's a professional wide receiver, but not an all-pro level wide receiver, where Mark Andrews kind of is that sort of pass catcher. So going over to our player groups here and going to Lamar Jackson, here's the guys that I have left on this list. We're going to monitor Marquise Brown. We're going to monitor Miles Boykin. We don't know if they're going to be in or out. Willie Snead going to be really low. Duvernay expected at 5.9% just based on the projectable volume. If these two are out and the price that he's at, I'm going to allow exactly one. Probably going to wait up Mark Andrews in this group, and then going over to our bring back stacks with Lamar, James Robinson, DJ Chark, Laviska, who got a lot of targets last week, Keelan Cole, Colin Johnson kind of as sprinkles, but I don't know if you need them if you're going to have any of the cheaper options on the other side. If you think that they're going to pass, again, I think that J.K. Dobbins is going to be extremely popular this week, and if he is extremely popular at his price of $5,900, that makes these Lamar Jackson stacks. He can do it for you on the ground, get you the 100-yard bonus on the ground, as well as be efficient, maybe get 2 or 3 touchdowns through the air. And if 1 or 2 of those goes to Mark Andrews, you have yourself a fantastic stack, and you hope that Jacksonville can score some touchdowns coming back to make it a very viable, high upside tournament stack at low percentage. Hopefully this video helped you. If it did, leave a comment, drop a like, look out for another video right there.
He's a legend.